Hi there, this is Andrea Mowry of Drea Renee Knits, and today I'm going to be demonstrating how to do a 2x2 tubular cast on. This is to create a really beautiful cast on edge for 2x2 ribbing. And it actually begins the same way as our 1x1 tubular cast on, and then we just juggle those stitches around. So let's start by estimating how much yarn we need for our cast on. I'm just going to do about 12 stitches, so I'm going to simply wrap my yarn around my needle 12 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then I just give myself a little extra for a tail. I'm now going to hold that loop and I grab my yarn that's attached to my cake, my yarn ball, and my yarn tail. I grab them together in my bottom 3 fingers, and then I just insert my pointer finger and thumb through that loop to open it up and create this triangle shape. And that is how we're going to hold our yarn to do our cast on. Our first stitch is pretty simple. We just place our needle on top of the triangle and then rotate it around to create that twist, and that is our first stitch. That's how I prefer to start all my cast-ons. You could also use a slip knot, but I just find this quick and easy, and then you don't have any knots in your knitting. All right, I'll show that one more time. We're going to put our needle on top, rotate it around. There we go. So from here, the first stitch we need to do is a purl stitch, because with a tubular cast on, we alternate knits and purls all the way across. So for the purl stitch of a tubular cast on, we're going to go under the yarn that is on our pointer finger and then over the yarn that's on our thumb. And then we rotate both down to hug the base of our cast on, and you can see how it looks like a purl. For a knit stitch, we go under the yarn on our thumb, over the yarn on our pointer finger, and again we then just rotate down so that it's at the base. We're back to a purl, under the yarn on our pointer finger, over the yarn on our thumb, rotate to the base. Do you see how there's knit, purl, knit, purl? So now we have a knit. We need to go under our thumb, over our finger, rotate to the base. For a purl, we're going to go under our finger, over our thumb, rotate to the base. I'm going to keep going in this rhythm until I have 12 stitches. So far I have 6. Under the thumb, over the finger, creates a knit stitch, over the finger, under the thumb, creates a purl. Under the thumb, over the finger, knit stitch, over the finger, under the thumb, purl stitch. I think I just need 2 more. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yep. So under the thumb, over the finger, knit stitch, under the finger, over the thumb, purl stitch. Now we need to turn our work. Even when you're working in the round, when you're doing a tubular cast on, you have to work 2 rows flat before you join to work in the round. To make sure, you can tell that this is quite a loose cast on, so to make sure we don't lose that last stitch, I just like to put an extra twist into my yarns to hold it stable while I turn and get ready to do my setup row. For my setup row, I need to, on both setup rows actually, you're going to be working your knit stitches and slipping your purl stitches. On the first setup row, all of our knit stitches are twisted, so we're going to knit them through the back loop. And again, I just want to show you how this is kind of loosey-goosey, so you can just go ahead and twist those yarns to get it kind of locked in. And then after you work your setup rows, it'll be just fine. All right, this first row, I'm gonna work continental, holding my yarn in my left hand, but then on the following setup row, I'll show that English style for all of you who knit holding your yarn in your right hand. So I need to knit through the back loop to untwist these stitches. So I insert my needle through the back loop and knit. For my purl stitch, I hold my yarn to the front, slip my stitch purlwise so that it doesn't twist, and then return my yarn to the back. Knit one through the back loop. Slip one with yarn in front. Knit one through the back loop. Slip one with yarn in front. Knit one through the back loop. You just always want to remember to bring your yarn forward for that slip stitch and then return it to the back before you do the next stitch through the back loop. Slip, knit one through the back loop, and we simply bring our yarn forward, slip that last stitch, and turn our work. This row I will work English style. And now we're on the back, so we still start with a knit stitch, and then we're going to purl these purl stitches. Now all the stitches are facing the way they need to, so we can just knit them as we usually would through the front leg instead of the back now. So knit one, yarn to front, slip one, return your yarn to the back, knit one, bring your yarn forward, slip one, return it to the back, knit one, slip one with yarn forward, knit one, slip one with yarn forward, knit one, all the way to the end. Now, if you were doing a 2x2 cast on flat, you would turn your work at this point and you would juggle your stitches as I'm going to show you how to do it now, just on that other side. But we're going to join to work in the round because that is when I typically use this cast on. So let me switch out to my other needle. Okay, I needed more stitches to be able to show you comfortably. So this would be the point that I would have just finished. Sorry, other needle, other side. So this is the point I would have just finished. I've slipped all my purl stitches and I just knit all my knit stitches. And now I need to join to work in the round. So I bring my other needle tip up, taking care not to twist any stitches, and we are going to knit the first stitch, and now we're at a purl, but what we really want is another knit stitch to make it 2x2 rib. So all we have to do is juggle these stitches around. And the way I like to do that is I insert my needle tip into the second stitch on the needle. That's going to be my knit stitch. And then I pinch and pull both stitches off and put the purl stitch back on. So I now have that knit stitch that was on the other side of that purl. And I just place it back on my left-hand needle. And now I can knit it, and now I can purl two, knit one, and now I need to juggle again because I'm back at a purl, but I need to have two knits next to each other. So again, I insert my needle into that knit stitch, that's one stitch after my purl, I pinch, pull, and then just pop that purl stitch back on and bring the knit stitch in front of it. Now I can knit 1, purl 2, knit 1, and we're ready to juggle again. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to English style, just in case anyone wants to see it that way. So we have 1 knit stitch here. We need 1 more for our knit 2, purl 2 rib pattern. So I need to have this knit stitch in front of this purl stitch. So I'm going to slip my needle into the knit stitch. I'm going to pinch both stitches and then slip my left hand needle back into the purl stitch and then pop my knit stitch back on. And I'm now ready to knit, purl 2, knit 1, and I'll show it one last time. To make this knit 2 instead of just the knit 1, I need to switch the places of these 2 stitches. So you always want to pass your knit stitches in front of your purl stitches. So again, I've inserted my needle into the knit stitch, I pinch them, place my needle tip back into the purl, pass my knit stitch back over to my left hand needle, and now I can keep on going. And you're just going to do this all the way around your work so that you end up with knit 2, purl 2. And it can be a little hard to believe that that will look smooth at your edge, but it really does. And I'll show you, there's also, you can also bind off this way. So I'll show you just how that looks again. You really, this is a marled yarn, so it's a little harder to see, but you can see it just gives such a nice finished, polished look. And as far as where you join, you're gonna notice this little gap here since we did work those 2 setup rows, but you can just use your tail to clean that up as you weave in your ends at the end, and it'll look pretty seamless. I'll show you mine here. So I don't do anything fancy. I just use that tail to bring it up so there's no gap. And that's it. So I hope you give this a try. As long as you take it slow, I think you'll be successful, and have a great day. Happy knitting.